Now let's deep dive into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Jamal Starks, and let's queer up entertainment. Pixar's Elio cuts queer themes, and what's the result? Pixar's newest animated film, Elio, may look like a sweet intergalactic adventure, but behind the scenes, it has become another flashpoint in the ongoing controversy around LGBTQ representation in mainstream animation. Originally directed by Adrian Molina, Elio reportedly contained gentle nods to queerness in its earliest version. According to The Hollywood Reporter, early test audiences in 2023 saw signs that the 11-year-old titular character might be queer. One playful moment showed Elio designing a pink tank top from the beach trash for a Sharafian show, held for a hermit crab. Another featured his bedroom decorated with images that hinted at a crush on a boy. While the film was never meant to be a coming out story, Molina had hoped to include these early markers of identity. But those moments were erased from the final cut. The Hollywood Reporter claims Pixar executives were dissatisfied with the original version, and Molina reportedly left the leadership screening in 2024 feeling hurt. He eventually exited the project. The film was then reworked under co-directors Madeline, Sharafian, and Domee. An anonymous Pixar artist said, quote, "It was pretty clear through the production of the first version of the film that the studio leaders were constantly sanding down these moments in the film that alluded to Elio's sexuality for being queer. A lot of people like to blame Disney, but the call is coming from inside the house. A lot of it is obeying in advance behavior coming from the higher execs at Pixar," end quote. The revised version, which removed much of the queer subtext and presented Elio as more masculine, has struggled at the box office, earning just $41.9 million domestically so far against a reported $150 million budget. The artist also asked whether they would have lost this much money if they simply let Adrian tell his story. Elio is now playing in theaters. This is not a surprise because we're starting to see big production execs, start to run a little scared due to the political positioning of America in our society. So, but
even though there's no sexual tendencies or innuendos or anything that was in there, and I think as little brown boys growing up, we had to watch Disney movies and Pixar movies that that these princesses that were forced to fall in love with these toxic male characters, and these storylines that didn't look like us, and stuff like that. And, I think it's absurd when people say that, oh, you're throwing these queer storylines in our face. I'm like, well, we had to grow up with your storyline.
Yep. Exactly.
Yep. I was groomed and sexualized since I was 12 years old as a Latina little girl.
Yeah.
Okay.
And for the little aspect of, he found a pink tank top. There's nothing sexual about that. Boys can wear pink as well. Pink is a color.
Yep.
It doesn't mean anything. So those little things, give kids who, may be questioning their sexuality, or have questions about different things to be like, oh, it's okay. Because it doesn't mean anything at the end of the day. It's a tank top.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Or just explore their creative side.
Exactly.
Because letting kids be kids, who knows if heterosexuals wear pink? Heterosexual men wear pink. Yeah. Heterosexual males can get creative.
Yeah.
I think that, again, we go back to the problem with parents and adults sexualizing everything. Because that's the world that we are now in as full-grown adults, sexualizing everything with kids, sexualizing everything that they do, instead of just allowing it to be and allowing it to be open.
Well, that's what you get, Pixar. That's what you get.
That's what you get.
That's what you get. America Ferrera, who's one of my favorite actresses, was supposed to be in Elio. And she left because Adrian Molina, because all his directorial stuff was on the cutting room floor. And she was like, I don't want to be a part of this anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Good
for her.
Yeah, right. And I love Zoe Saldana, who she is amazing. She's actually from Passaic, New Jersey. Amazing. But again, this is the worst opening in Pixar history.
Wow.
Yeah, wow.
Okay, this is Pixar that we're talking about.
Yeah.
So, you should have let the little queerness in.
Yeah. Maybe it gave it a little spark.
Yeah.
Well, that is the big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.